I would be lying to you if I told you I could fix every team in the NFL. But I can, and I will. This is fixing the most annoying thing about every NFL team, which is no easy task, so I'll be leveraging the freest in artificial intelligence in my quest. Let's start with a 2-for-1, the Jets and the Giants. Arguably, the worst thing about MetLife Stadium is that it doesn't have real grass. That turf has claimed more body parts than Mia Khalifa. But I'm not gonna sprinkle a few grass seeds on this and move on. Let's address the elephant in the room. The New York Giants and the New York Jets do not play in New York. Not the city, not even the state. They play in New Jersey, where their stadium was built on a foundation of lies. Lies! The easiest thing to do would be to change the name to the New Jersey Jets and Giants. But why continue to punish people by giving them a reason to go to New Jersey? Instead, let's just build a stadium in the city. Quick disclaimer, I do not know New York geography in the slightest. Okay, computer, give me the best locations to drop a stadium in NYC. Willets Point, Queens. Pros, close to existing sports franchises like Citi Field, well connected to public transportation. Cons, significant redevelopment needed. Really? I don't see it. Potential traffic congestion. Well, we can't have traffic in New York City, so what else you got? Red Hook, Brooklyn. Pros, waterfront location, potential for stunning views and new development. Access via the Gow-Anus Expressway and future subway extensions. Cons, currently limited public transportation options, need for significant infrastructure investment. Number 3, Bronx, near Yankee Stadium. Pros, existing sports culture and infrastructure, good public transportation. Cons, dense residential area, potential traffic and noise concerns. This one has potential though. If we think outside the box, I think we can make this one work. If you're too young to remember, like a toddler or something, do toddlers watch my channel? The Washington franchise had an identity crisis the past few years, changing their name from the racially problematic Redskins that they held for, checks notes, 87 years, to the very generic Washington football team to the Commanders. Which is fine. It's fine. I'm being nice, it sucks. They're all Commanders? Everyone on the team is a commander. Well, who's in charge? Another commander? The only thing they're in command of is early draft picks. While it's unlikely Washington will change their team name again, there was an ownership change, and there is a more than 0% chance. So let's explore some options, both new and old. Last go round, there were a few options that included red in the name, which I like, for nostalgia. Keep a piece of the old name. Red itself was not the problem. Red Tails was popular, a reference to both the Tuskegee Airmen and the red-tailed hawk. But we have plenty of birds in the league. There's even an eagle in their own division. Personally, I thought the best name floated was the Red Wolves. A wolf is a badass animal for a franchise. A lot of those early options were either ignored or spurned at the time because some jackhole kept trademarking possible names and buying up URLs just in the hopes that they would buy them off. I had an innovative suggestion, but no one appreciated the Red Pandas. They're not indigenous to the area, but have the courage to be the cutest franchise in the league. So again, we turn to AI for some unexpected possibilities, like the Washington Reapers, which brings a certain WWE quality to the league. Their touchdown celebration could be harvesting souls. ChatGPT even found me some animals that weren't already associated with sports franchises, which is how I learned that there's something out there called a D-hole. Full stop. I know a winner when I hear one. Assuming dhole.com is still available. The Browns have long infuriated me. The chief offender here? They don't have a logo. There's nothing on the helmet except a white stripe down the middle, and their helmet is orange. Worse yet, because they're logoless, they use the entire orange helmet as a logo during games. I don't even know what that's about. The problem with giving them a logo is nobody knows what a Brown is. I assumed they weren't named for a shart, and I was right. They're named after their first head coach, Paul Brown, which is weird, but I guess I'm just glad his name wasn't Hitler. So do we just turn this dude into a logo? Let's do it. Here he is, jowls and all. Your fault for naming a team after him. He looks like a sinister Bob Hope. Nobody wants this on a helmet or a piece of merch. Now I get why they don't have a logo. But there are other options. How about we focus on the city instead? Plenty of teams simply use a letter for their logo. I don't love that approach, but there is literally no good way to represent a Brown. So let's make this about Cleveland. The rub is making a letter C logo that doesn't make you think of Chicago, whose base colors also include orange. Unfortunately, AI was not so useful here. I didn't like anything I got from it. I decided to lean into the one characteristic of their existing helmet, the white stripe. I tried incorporating it a number of ways and even tried using it as the letter C. I wasn't satisfied with a single thing I created, and I knew Browns fans wouldn't be either. And that's when I had an epiphany. Maybe they don't need a logo. Let them be unique. The real issue I had is being represented graphically by a picture of an orange helmet. That's what we need to fix. And that's easier than an afternoon of despondent graphic design. First things first, Orange, you're fired. They're not the Cleveland Oranges, you're the Cleveland Browns. The orange is holding you back. We've got an entire crayon on lockdown. Go with it. Swap out the orange helmets for copper. That's sexy brown. Are you kidding me? Look how awesome that is. Copper helmets, brown unis, no logo. When they show the graphic at the bottom with the score, use a paint swatch from the Home Depot. You've heard of the All Blacks? Cleveland is the All Browns. Your alternate jerseys? Tan. That's vacation brown. I am legitimately excited by this idea. Someone get me a seamstress and a haberdasher. The Packers don't have a mascot. Neither do the Giants, Chargers, and Jets. Though the Chargers should just buy Boltman off their superfan. He's retired, but it's a natural progression for Bailey Zappi. I know I tackled this before in my mascots video, but the Packers are too storied not to have a mascot. Now, the obvious play here is just to use a meat packer, but that showed more than problematic for a few reasons. Flies, mostly. Last time I tried this, I went with an Arctic fox named Curly, and I stand by that idea. I went with former NFL film Steve Sable's reference to Lambeau Field as the frozen tundra and the proximity to the Fox River. Curly is an obvious reference to Packers legend Earl Curly Lambeau. This time, I added a pair of ski goggles with a yellow tint to give him/her/it a little something extra. And also because every version with eyes creeped me the fuck out. I love the Eagles. I bleed green. And I know plenty of good people that do too. But there's a reason Eagles fans are widely regarded as the worst fans in the league. In fact, there's a lot of reasons. I'm talking about throwing full beer bottles at opposing team fans, intentionally projectile vomiting on them, eating horse shit off the ground to celebrate a Super Bowl win, throwing batteries at players, punching police horses in the face, that happened more than once, shooting a flare gun at rival fans during a game, never mind all the fights and pissing everywhere. The Eagles and Phillies' now defunct Veterans Stadium had a jail with a fully functional courtroom in it. Philadelphia is the only place I know where the police fear both a win and a loss equally. We need better fans. It would take too long to breed them out, so we'll just have to water them down with an influx of new fans. Canada is full of nice people. Let's go get some. Now, I'm not suggesting hostages here. If they're really as polite as people say, then they won't say no. They'll just get in the van. It's best to do a practice run first, a test of wills if you will, just to see which is stronger. I don't want to be turning Canucks into horse-punching Eagles fans. We have to be sure the river only flows one way. After that, we can ramp up production. Philadelphians are rude, but they're not stupid, and they hate outsiders, so this won't be easy. There will be clues. Go birds, am I right, fellas? But if this works, we will have pulled off the single greatest fan reformation, and they're already rioting, aren't they? It's my turn to eat the horse shit, eh?
Go birds!
Cool teams get cool hashtags on the internet. Bills Mafia, Skull, Go Pack Go, even Duval. These all make sense. These are things fans identify by, say to each other, and shout at games. But not every team is blessed with a good online presence. Many teams simply use their names as the hashtags. Pretty lazy. The Cowboys are forced to include their city, likely because of all the other Cowboy teams floating around the internet. Now I get the 1-star rating. The 49ers and the Commanders have acronyms. The Commanders is Hail to the Commanders, because it used to be Hail to the Redskins, but HTTC looks like Hail to the Chiefs. The Niners FTTB stands for Faithful to the Bay, which is either a commitment to a body of water or a strong allegiance to the movies of Michael Bay. The Giants hashtag was listed as Together Blue. It sounds like they're promoting group therapy, and maybe that's what being a Giant fan is. I'd certainly be depressed watching the team. But the one I decided to change belonged to the Indianapolis Colts, whose hashtag is ForTheShoe, which sounds like an inspiring war cry, if Foot Locker had an army. It's time to abandon this foot fetish. Let's inject some horsey stuff in there. You are the Colts after all. Just focus on being a horse with some junk about saddles and herds or whatever. A colt is a young horse, over the age of 1 but less than 4, and in racing, it's characterized by being uncastrated, which is my preference too. All original parts. I think the perfect hashtag/team war cry combines all the previously mentioned elements. A call to action, a reference to unity, team, horse stuff, and the protection of the still intact equine cojones. Colts fans, I present #Gird the Herd. Now you're probably thinking, they're not gonna change the team slogan and online marketing to that. Not with that attitude, they're not. That's why we need Colts fans to gird up and make it happen. I'll even get them started with a t-shirt. Sorry, I couldn't use the actual Colts logo, but I'm not getting sued over this. Not my fault your logo looks like a toilet seat. I tried to fix that, but that's a story for another time. David Tepper bought the Panthers back in 2018, and at the time he said, "The biggest thing I can do is have a great appreciation of how stupid I am." 6 years later, I think we can all appreciate how stupid he is. Since he bought them, the team has gone 31-68. They've gone through 6 head coaches. They traded away their best receiver in DJ Moore, their best running back in Christian McCaffrey, their best defensive player in Brian Burns, and traded up to get pocket-sized quarterback Bryce Young, when they would have had the chance to draft Caleb Williams just 1 year later. And sure, run your team into the ground, I don't care. But Tepper's been caught on camera with multiple shitty person infractions, throwing drinks at opposing team fans, harassing local restaurateurs, demanding $650 million from the city for a new stadium, and threatening to relocate the team. He's an acquired taste, like cyanide. But he's not going anywhere, so we have to find a way to fix this. My first thought was a shock collar, but he might be into that. Can't risk discovering a kink. We can't change a 66-year-old billionaire, but maybe we can influence his perception of his own ideas. Here's the plan. Bring someone on board to the Panthers who not only says yes to David Tepper, but amplifies and passionately supports all of his worst ideas. This person won't just agree, they'll be an enthusiastic champion of Tepper's most misguided notions. Then, at the right moment, we start the shift. Ensure that Tepper repeatedly catches this person in disgraceful situations, sleeping on the men's room floor, eating out of a trash can, investing in Dogecoin. The key is that Tepper is the only one who witnesses this behavior. Over time, Tepper's perception of this individual will deteriorate to the point where one day, as this person is singing the praises of yet another dogshit Tepper idea, it will cut Tepper to his core. This is a mixture of Inception and The Sting. Except the only thing we're grifting here is a man's confidence. I mean, we could just hire a pack of mean girls. Worked for me. During the 1972 season, the Miami Dolphins won 14 regular season games and all 3 postseason games to achieve the only undefeated season in NFL history. And while it's impressive and historic, you gotta shut up about it. The Dolphins are one of 2 teams to win every regular season game. The Patriots went undefeated at 16-0 during the season, plus 2 postseason games, but ultimately lost in the Super Bowl. So while they didn't steal the Dolphins' thunder, they did win more games. In fact, if you go back to the previous season, the Patriots actually won 21 straight games, which is an NFL record. Football has changed a lot since the 70s. You can argue it's not as grueling as it once was, but it's also more games. 17 games is now a regular season schedule, and they're pushing for more. The NFL schedule is evolving faster than the human body, and going undefeated has become more difficult. At this point, the Dolphins celebrating their undefeated season is like celebrating how good of a baseball team you were before they let black people play. Say there, chums, this game sure is easy as pie. Fuck! I'm not even harping on the fans. Celebrate your team, but the media, every season as soon as the last undefeated team loses, they say, the 72 Dolphins can pop the champagne. No, these guys are in their 70s and 80s. They should not be mixing alcohol and medications. It's time to put that tired line in hospice. Well shoot, that was only 9 teams. I told you I was a liar. I guess this is only part 1. If you want a part 2, help me out. Drop a comment and tell me what you find annoying about a team I didn't cover here. Unless the rest of them are all perfect. I guess I never considered that.